Chicken 1, 2. Hello, hello.
Chicken? Chicken? Chicken?
Oh yeah. Thank you, Phobo. Let me fix that. Wasn't really started yet. Let's get rid of the visuals. Let's have yourself some nice tea. Where in the world are you, Phobos Sabian? Is it tea time where you are? Where I am, it's 1:30 at night. It's always tea time. Let's put the kettle on, will ya? Oh shit. Side Limburg. The Belgian part of Limburg or the Dutch part? Hello Octo, welcome. In a way, this is gonna be an unboxing video right here. As you can see, it's gonna a new addition to the setup. You guys know these ones. And now I've built this one with some other stuff. No, I I should get a haircut. I'm just wearing it in a knot because it looks like like a typical Corona non haircut. So today I just put it all together. Can you guys give me some feedback on the connection on my phone? That's what I use to monitor it, and I monitor it on a phone on the 5G or 4G phone network. Also to not have to run Twitch or Chrome on my streaming laptop. So right now on my phone it's looking okay again. It was loading all the time. So let me know if it's okay or if you're having some issues. Also, I reconnected a lot of stuff, and so there might be some stuff not working or not syncing, or that's also a purpose of this stream. Hi Rick Dawson. Is to test if everything still works and if the new case is gonna perform well in the setup. I have some new camera angles as well. This one, kind of like it. It shows everything. Everything relevant. And there's of course main top camera, which I can also move around, because this is basically a mic stand with a selfie stick in the mic holder, and on the end of the selfie stick there's the action cam, Xiaomi cheap action cam. A lot of those, buy them for 37 euros second hand, full HD, and they go into a Roland V1 HD video mixer. And in one of the channels of the video mixer I have just a simple HDMI switch, so that way I can just switch some more. Seeing the streaming computer is not interesting, I think, so I'm gonna take it a bit lower. Maybe it's fun. Hi Litu. Bleep bloop. Oh, everybody likes bleep bloops. Or everybody who visits this channel, for that matter. Okay, so this is a bit different layout. It's not straight, but it's perfect for opening up the case. And since you're all here, ooh, let's open it up. I'm gonna mellow out the ARP, which is coming from the DeepMind 12, of course. There we go. Sounds a bit weird, but actually this was all gear that was previously in one of my primary cases, and I had a little case with just 4 Volcas in it. And what I like doing is I like to design cases like this, as you might suspect. And I do that in Illustrator. I put all the gear together and mix up and try to fit in a case like this. And it was all gear I was not using at the time. So, like the key step, I just replaced it by the Pro. The Nordrec, I have that one for years, and as a primary polysynth, it got replaced by the DeepMind. Also the Volcas, yeah, they're fun, but they're noisy, and I find them well, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with the Volcas. Yeah, it's Behringer, but there is no denying the DeepMind 12. It's just, I love it. It's a lovely machine. Also, why do it has faders for almost everything, and performance-wise, faders are the shit. They are perfect for performance, because can you twist 5 knobs with one hand? No, probably not. But I can do 5 faders with one hand. I can even, if I use my arm, I can probably do them all. It will not make sense to put everything up, but like something like this, putting the frequency and the envelope release up with one hand, or the other way around, cutoff frequency down, envelope release up with one hand while playing. You can't do that with dials. So apart from sounding, I think the DeepMind 12 sounds really, really good, especially for this kind of sounds, and I love the interface, and it's mad cheap for what it does. So it was one of my best buys, even so. Anyhow, it's not about this case today. It's about the new case. Okay, what's in the new case? We might go do some zooming in by just lowering the top cam. Well, that works. We have the Nord Lead 2 Rack Edition, Nord Rack 2. We have the original key step, the Korg Volca FM, the Korg Volca keys, the Korg Volca sample, the Korg Volca mix that everybody hates but made sense. Also, it's the primary mixer in this case. Why did actually it was a Z0 who reminded me that it's actually a pretty interesting piece of kit because it has like a simple dynamics processing compressor kind of thingy in it, and it's the size of a Volca, so it's really a lot easier to put 4 Volcas in a case, making sense, than it is to use 3. Apart from these 4 Volcas, we have some other interesting stuff. This is the Pictronics Infinity Looper. That's the looper I used before I got the Electro Harmonics 95,000. That's next to the Behringer right here, which is a 6-channel looper, a desktop looper pedal, which I also love. But it's not as intuitive and as easy to use as the Pictronics Infinity Looper. I just read on the Discord that the entire robot cowboy, he also bought this Infinity Looper. It's a pretty cool device because it's just easy and it MIDI syncs really well. It's a bit expensive for just a two-channel looper, but it does what it does really well. Where I also use this looper for, and that's a function that is often forgotten for loopers. Well, welcome, Rick Dawson, to the stream. And hey, Bleep Temple. I hope this is something you can work to, because this is not a jamming stream, or at least not yet. This is a stream where I go to the new case setup and walk through it and test some functionality. And I probably will end up jamming with it or mixing it with the other case, but okay, let's keep Bleep Temple from working more. So there's the Infinity Looper, the 2-channel looper, MIDI syncable, and a very interesting function for this looper that isn't even available on the 95,000 by Electro Harmonics is the function of sync multi, they call it, and that's just as simple as having 2 loops with different lengths, but a multiply of one of the other. Like you got one loop that's 4 bars, and you get another one that's 4 times as long, so 16 bars. And from a music perspective, that really makes sense, and it's really useful as well. So that's a pretty cool function. And you can split the inputs as 2 mono inputs, 2 mono outputs, or you can put it on like 1 stereo input, 1 stereo output. But as I was saying, another way to use a looper that not many people do, I think, is just to loop it, use it as a loop player instead of using the computers to back up the loops you've created live. You use the computer to put loops you already made in a DAW or whatever, and you put them in your looper to play back later. Especially with the 95,000, that's pretty interesting because yeah, you have like a multi-track record player in a sense. I have some tracks that I have like the kick on channel 1 and the snare on channel 2 and a bass line on 3, etc. And that way I can perform this track and adjust the BPM, and it will switch. It will pitch bend, of course. It unfortunately does not have time stretching. But it's interesting, an interesting way to use a looper, especially if you do not want to use the DAW to play loops. Otherwise, you're gonna need a sampler or some groovebox and playing long samples in a groovebox. But you can also do that with a looper, of course. There's of course one downside, and that's when you, let's say, you have a loop that's originally on recorded on 120 BPM, and yeah, you want to use it in 128, then yeah, it will get pitched. And one time I figured out how many BPMs you have to step up to get an entire semitone. I had no idea how much that would be, and it turns out in the domain of, say, 90 BPMs to 135, it takes approximately exactly 7 BPMs to change the pitch with an entire semitone in a way that you cannot really hear that it's off tune. Because there's nothing as when you're in between two semitones, it's going to be really hard to jam to it, because yeah, it's going to be dissonant all the time. You don't want that, because you can never tune a dissonant note, of course, when it's in between two notes. Especially when playing with other people, they will hate you for it. That's also a reason why a lot of live musicians, like saxophone players, violin players, people I've worked with, they played with DJs in the past, and when they play with vinyl DJs, they hated it because the DJs tend to not play the record on original BPM, and in a lot of cases, the pitch of the bass line, for instance, would be between two between two BPMs, and it's impossible to play in a note that's, yeah, or you have to purposefully detune your violin or something. But when you have a saxophone or something, you cannot tune a saxophone. All right, the next thing in the case, I have another looper in this case, but it's a MIDI looper. And I got this at one point because I really like the concept of MIDI looping. And I will try to show you at one point how this works. It is this device. It's the Future Artist MIDI looper, and it's a really simple device. It has like a record stop play button and just some colored LEDs. It has 5 tracks, but what it allows you to do is just record MIDI loops. Like, I can play something, I can record something, and it's also MIDI synced, of course. But in this case, before it, I have the key step. So let's see how we are doing sound-wise. Get rid of the DeepMind. Okay, we have no sound yet. There we go. This is now a sound coming from yeah, thank you, Angry Driver. It's also my plan to do more like this. I do more like this, maybe get steady, but actually I'm just streaming for about 3-4 months or something, so I'm still figuring out what I want to do with streaming in the first place. So I can imagine I will do stuff like this, some days of the week, and I do jamming sets on Synfest and in the weekends, something like that. And maybe also I have a lot of ideas for things to stream. like experiments with traditional musicians, like I did on the last Synfest in 909 Day. And so there's a lot more coming, and I'm also all about exploring what we can do. I want to do things with live sampling. I want to do stuff with more interactivity, like the guys at DN Control do, or the new guy that popped up in our stream in our Discord yesterday, the day before yesterday. We could send keys to the modular synth and stuff like that. Really, really interesting. Also, if you have any idea for concepts, just drop me a line. It's easier for me to process them if they're in the whispers or in the Discord. If you have ideas on stream, I will try to read, of course. I have no idea. I think I started streaming, I think, a couple of weeks before the first Synth Saturday, or the Synth Fest. Must have been June, May, maybe? I don't know. Something like that. FK Bleep Temple has been following for 4 months, 5 days and 21 hours. Yeah, so I think Bleep, you followed me that first weekend. How I got on Twitch was probably by a post of Dan. He posted in the Simply Synthesizers group on Facebook that the Synthfest thing was going on, and I think I have done some tests before that. But you know how it goes. The first couple of times when you stream, I was like, I put the stream button on, then I performed something for like 16 minutes. And I gave it all, and I had like 1 or 1.5 viewers or something, and probably that one viewer was my own browser source or monitoring my stream. So probably with 0 audience, and I didn't get the concept of streaming until weeks and weeks later. But the first since Saturday, I didn't perform, but one of the first things I saw were the performance by you, Bleep Temple, and by Mathmith, and I think Callus did one as well, and Dickel, and it blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is it, this is where I'm working towards for more than 25 years, and I finally found a place where other people are doing the same thing, and this is so inspiring, and where can I sign up for next month? It was a very important moment in my life, and you were a big part of that, Bleep Temple, so thank you. And up till now, all this streaming with you shrimps and all, it's just been beautiful, and especially in a year like this where the entire world has gone to shit, but it's the same year that I accomplish a sort of goal I've been working towards for about 25 years. So it's weird. It's a really weird year, but it's in a way because of this. I can only think of it as a good year. I know it's a very bad year for all other reasons, and I don't want to talk politics and disasters and environment. And you know what I'm talking about, but it also, this also creates something really beautiful. Back to the gear. I'm gonna have to move something, I think, because I have my phone where I monitor the chat. I have that on a spot that's not comfortable. Let's see, maybe this works better. Hey there, SynthLab, welcome. I'm doing something else today. I'm some kind of when I put my phone on that case, it creates some sort of weird static. Anyhow, let's continue. You are listening right now to the first channel of the Nord Rack 2, and if I'm correct, it is synced to the KeyStep Pro. Let's see if that is correct. Yes, awesome. This also means that the Future Artist MIDI looper is synced. Let's check this as well, the blinking light. Yes, that works. So, as I was saying, it's really interesting. No, I'm not really reconfiguring my Gear synth lab. I'm, you see this case right here. It wasn't here before. This is an exact same case as the other ones I'm using, but I filled it up with all kinds of, it's leftover gear. I almost cannot call it like that because it represents quite a lot of money and time and work I had to do to be able to afford it, but I wasn't using all this stuff, and I finally bought a new case and built all this stuff inside of it, and like 4 Volcas, the Nord Rack, my old KeyStep, and a MIDI looper and an audio looper. Oh, and of course, I haven't mentioned this one before, and that's the Korg Chaos Pad Mini Sample 2S, something like that it's called. And that's like a small effect processor that I have on the send return of the Volca mix. And that's going to be interesting as well. Also, I think I have this, I think that's how I routed it. The send receive of the Volca mix goes to it goes to both the looper and the Chaos Pad. Yeah, hello Evane, 420. Always 420 somewhere on Twitch. Pretty quiet. Should be all right. So what we're gonna do now is combine the sequencer arpeggiator with the MIDI looper. And what it allows us to do is, let me just put a kick drum in place for the timing. We're doing pretty slow. Filter kick drum. Stream is quiet. You have no audio. Check 1, 2. That's weird. I have. OBS showing about 70% gain. So I'm not sure what's going on. Let me check. 1, 2, 2. Of course I can get louder. That's no problem, but I don't want to clip. Also, those Volcas are quite noisy. So is this a lot better? Peaking around 0. Okay. Yeah, when I clap my hands, it clips. So it's kind of weird that you guys are getting a soft signal. All right. Thank you for giving that feedback, because before today I reconnected everything. So if you notice something that is probably that you think that's not working as it should, please put it in the chat. I'm not sweating it. It's just please let me know if something is, you think something is probably not working as I have imagined it. So there we go. Thank you for sticking around. We're gonna try to do the stacking arpeggiators again, or using the MIDI looper, and see if that works like it should. Okay, holding this. One. Let's see how it goes. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, as you might have noticed, I just stopped the key step, but the MIDI looper is still playing this arpeggiator on the same channel as it was created. Is it still? Check. 1, 2, 2, 2. Okay. I can go louder. Check 1, 2. All right. Okay, thanks guys. So you're now listening to this same arpeggiator I just recorded, but I recorded it on a MIDI looper and I didn't record it. It's not playing on the key step anymore. So now I can go to another channel. The fun thing about the Nordrack 2 is that it's in fact 4 synthesizers in one. You have 4 separate channels, all with separate outs. Separate mono outs can be routed. So it's not one synthesizer, it's 4 synthesizers, but you can create like 4 different voices. Now let's see what we have here. It's the second voice, also the Nordrack. And I can of course record it in the key step, but this time I'm gonna record it directly in the MIDI looper. There you go. So, yeah, I actually got some new camera angles. This one you've probably seen before. This one, which actually shows all gear. Kind of like it. It's connected to a lamp that's not on right now. And this one right here, it's actually a selfie stick in a mic stand. And the fun thing about this one is I can set the height. Quite fun actually. Maybe I should connect a servo to it at one point and go all Moonhouse and add some chat commands. Also, the MIDI looper has this button right here, and you can live quantize everything. So it's now quantized at like 96 or something. That's normal. And I can I completely over quantized it now on the fly. Pretty interesting. I can put it back, or I can quantize it just a little bit. Third channel, what we're gonna do here? Maybe a long pad or something. And the fun thing about MIDI looping is, of course, that it's non-final. I can change the sound. Something you can absolutely not do with audio looping, of course, unless you do some processing behind it, but stuff like changing the cutoff frequency, and I'm not sure, but the MIDI looper should also record CC values. It's just the way I have wired it now. By the way, somewhere inside this case, underneath here, there are some hidden tricks. I'm not gonna pull it all out, but there is like a Canton MIDI through 5 box that routes all the MIDI, especially to all the Korg Volcas, and of course to the MIDI looper and to the Infinity looper, and the Nord rack, of course. Also, right here, there is another secret compartment, and this one holds like a super cheap Alibaba RCA mixer, just to patch up some more stuff before it goes to the Korg Volca mix, because as you can count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sound sources with 2 mono channels and 1 stereo channel. So I had to do something to make it available on 3 channels. Hey, love you. Welcome. Welcome to the stream, and so nice of you to sign up for next Synfest. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in this performance. For the shrimpies that don't know yet, Love You is going to be one of the special acts of next Synfest. So maybe some news. And yes, and Vane, it does loop MIDI CC messages, if I'm right. I have not played around with that a lot, and like I said, the way it's connected now, I have no piece of gear sending CC messages connected to the input of the MIDI looper. So for me, there's not a good way to test it. I do, however, have a modulation wheel on the key step, so we might try that. And I'm gonna mute the other channels. Go to channel 4, that's where this sound is on. And let's check if this mod wheel does anything. Yes, it does. Bye, Octo. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see if we can get that shrimp statue in your aquarium. Would be fun. For people that don't know what I'm talking about, Octo has a nice stream where he creates live music with a vintage Russian aquarium simulator. That's actually like a pretty sick aquarium simulator that was created somewhere in the early 90s. And ciao for now, Lavu. See you soon. Thanks for stepping by. Okay, so we're gonna see if we can live loop the modulation and see if it works. There we go. There you go. It works. As you can hear, 2 spikes of modulation, and that makes this little device something really powerful, because connect this to a rig with some simple gear like this super old Nord-Rack 2. It's like my brother bought it somewhere in the 90s, while he was still creating Gabber records in The Hague, and well, you know Gabber. And at one point he stopped making music and he gave me this one. And it's actually a very nice synthesizer, but in some ways it sounds a bit dated, but that's only because it has no reverb, and the MIDI implementation is maybe a bit old-fashioned, but the sound is unmistakably good, if you ask me. Especially when confronted with modern reverb like the Eventide H9, which you're hearing. Hey there, Open Set, welcome to the stream. I'm doing something different than normal today. As you can see, maybe there's a new case. Full setup. New case, new camera angles, new fun. And guys, if you don't know OpenSet, well, you're probably very new to Twitch, but click his name and check what he's all about. Synthesizers with microscopes, poetry, beer drinking. Who doesn't like beer drinking? I'm drinking, by the way, Lagunitas Daytime Session IPA because I still have to drive. So what we just did, we MIDI looped the modulation of the Nord Track 2, controlled by the keys tab. Let's see if we can do something fun with the pitch bend wheel as well. I think it's set at like +7 or something. Not really good to work with. Nah, let's not automate the pitch bend. But let's get the other channels back in there. Also, let's get the Korg Volga kick sample working. let's see how it works together with the other gear. See if it syncs up nicely. I really have to get a new mixer. These gain pods are, I don't know if it's also cracking on your end, but the phone's out. It's like I've got the right channel drops and everything. Hope it's okay in the stream. Thanks, guys. Oh, that's good to hear. That's really good to hear that the crackers are only in my headphone. That's actually great. Quite happy with the addition of this case to the setup already. I'm just doing some nonsense at the time, but something I missed in the setup was some depth, some layers. This case will be great for just adding something on the background, you know. Maybe some textures.
Hey, Wombra. What's up, math?
Yeah, Litu, I can really recommend TR8S. It's especially for what you pay for it now. I think only $5.99 or something. Yeah, yeah. It's nothing fancy, but it's exactly what you need in most of the time, and especially with the new FM update. Hey, Nightworks, welcome. This is a stream with some new stuff. One of the things that's new is that I'm talking a lot. I usually don't talk that much. I usually let the gear talk, but I decided, well, I'm gonna do the new case, new cameras. So, yeah, why not try some talking and just see how that goes. I am not much of a talker normally, but so I'm just speaking my unconscious mind at the time, and I hope it's informative or entertaining, or well, you seem to be hanging around, so I guess I'm doing okay. I'm a Twitch to make music, but there's more to making music than just making music. Also, I find it really, really inspiring to see everybody else's setup and hear them talking about how they make their decisions for adding new gear or connecting gear to each other. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Actually, before I got on Twitch, I had the plan of doing a YouTube channel. A bit like everybody does, you know, a YouTube channel with tutorials about gear and connecting and unboxing. And I already spent a lot of time writing programs. And at some point I was like, well, why just do some educational stuff? It could be more educational to people by just playing around, working on your own setup, see what happens, and sharing your thoughts and sharing ideas and sharing inspiration and questions and knowledge, stuff like that. And I think I made the right decision, because there are enough tutorial unboxing videos on the internet. There are some guys, they're just so fucking good at it, like Lupop and Bo and Dave Mack and stuff. They're so good at making these kind of videos. I think if I would put some work on it, I could become good. But I think this is more fun, and also I am all about connecting gear to each other, about creating portable setups with non-modular gear. Yeah, that also the market was completely saturated on YouTube with that kind of videos. You know, nobody wants another gear reviewer or something. So I'm actually doing what I like doing, and I think it's more informative than me doing the 200th review of the Behringer TD3. No one's gonna watch that. So, and I'm happy I made that decision. And at first I planned on streaming on Facebook, then streaming on YouTube, and then I found about Twitch, and it's just perfect. Also, the sound is a lot better on Twitch than it is on Facebook. Oh my god, the sound quality of I restreamed all this stuff, and when I watch it back, it's downscaled to 720. We talked about it. 720, 1080 for streaming. I'm a designer. I want the highest possible video quality that I can send into the world, and also I don't think the text on screen will not be readable on 720 probably, but if I make it bigger, I don't like the way it looks. So yeah, that's part of the package. Anyhow, what I was telling is what I'm about is creating portable setups with non-modular gear, or not at least, and what you can do with it. And what the philosophy is that you can just buy normal gear and make some sort of, you can call it modular because it's modules, and in a way these are modules as well. Every case is a module, and in the case there are various modules, connecting it together. And the reason I don't like modular gear, I completely understand why people like it, because designing a synthesizer is cool, very, very cool. But I am about performing. The reason I have it placed like this is because almost every knob is within an arm's reach. I don't have to bend, I don't have to work above my head or at low level or whatever. I can just turn every knob from the center position, and there are no wires in the way. That is the most important thing. I would get completely crazy of all the patch cables that are covering my interface. I like interfaces, I like keyboards, knobs, faders. And I think even that it's almost, you can almost call it a design flaw of the entire Eurorack system. I know that's a pretty bold statement, and I know a lot of you guys here have Eurorack synthesizers or other modular gear, but I think it's back to the drawing board and create some sort of modular system with, for instance, design it in such a way that the cables do not cover the dials and faders. There's patching and there's the interface. And now the patching is covering the interface of the instrument. And I think that's the creators of modular gear. They didn't think of it as an instrument, I guess, more as a sound design tool. And what I would like is when even modular would, and Colin Benders is doing a really good job, of course, by showing people that you can perform with modular synthesizer, and I never would have thought he would inspire so many people into going into modular synthesizers. But I think there's still one step to make in modular synthesizers, and that is find a way that make the sound design do not cover the expression. Yeah, I think that's what it's all about. Let's see what you guys are all talking about. Yeah, the costs are also, I can really imagine why it's fun to do modular. As a matter of fact, I will probably replace this Behringer 303 with Model 32 at some point, because it's fun, the 303, and it's recognizable, but it's a bit too limited for my. And I don't have Moog yet. I have Vermona, I have Roland, I have Korg, I have Nord, I have Behringer, I have Electroharmonics, I have Arturia, but no Moog. Every synth head should have at least one Moog, so I'm probably gonna put the Model 32 right here, and it's semi-modular, so I will probably at first run some cables from the Arturia Keystep Pro and do some gating and such. It was time for a new chord. And a drummer from another mother and a subharmonicon. Yeah, I think Dan Kushner has that duo as well, and he's doing some nice videos with him these weeks. That's also a pretty good idea, open set. Some expression pedals. Also, what people don't see, by the way, is that I have quite a couple of pedals. Let me get the mobile cam. See if this works. Yes. I have this fourth camera. Let me see. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a whole bunch of pedals right here. Like this one, for instance, is just a latching pedal. What this one does is it can turn off the reverb and turn it back on. And of course, the sustain pedal for the North stage. There's a rotor pedal for the Leslie. Also, it's when I play an organ. Put the channel open. That lovely Leslie sound. What I also of course have an expression pedal for the North stage. This one here. Usually you can map it to all the rotaries on the North stage, and the stuff that is mappable. And we have, like, of course, the filter cutoff of the synth, the volume of the synth, the volume of the organ, volume of the piano. And the way the North stage works, so you have actually 2 panels, and each panel has an organ section, a piano section, a synthesizer section, an external section, and an effects and amplifying section. So it has that twice. So you can, with one patch, you have like 1, 2, 3, 3 sounds, plus another 3, which you normally won't use, but just to give an idea of the size and the what you can all do with this thing. I know now I know what you meant. I got the auto switching of the cameras on. Thanks, Litu. It was a bit too late. So you have these 3 sections and in 2 panels on each patch. So there's also an expression pedal for the Nord rack that can be mapped to a selection of controls like volume and cutoff. And 2 more pedals right here. One is the hold pedal for the arpeggiator of the DeepMind 12. The other one is the modulation pedal of the DeepMind 12. I actually don't use those that much. Maybe because of the precision. Maybe I should reposition them. Because also one thing with pedals is it's hard to use pedals while standing up. And I like playing standing up more than I like playing sitting down. Thank you, Rick. Thank you for being here. Good night. Let's see if we can get Korg Volca keys in the mix. Should be on channel 1, I think. I think I'm controlling the Korg Volca sample. questions about a certain piece of gear, a certain motivation, just let me know. Still figuring out this talking while streaming thing, but maybe it's just time to make some music. That's cool. Open set. Just do some jamming on this. Perfectly too. Hey there, Solvo, welcome. Hey Manano, Solvognen, welcome all. What I've been doing is actually I connected this new case. It's actually a new case of old gear, stuff that got pushed off out of my other cases, and now I got enough to make an entire case out of it. Nordly 2, key step, Volca sample, Volca FM, Volca keys, Volca mix, Pictronics infinity looper, Future Artist MIDI looper, and Korg Mini Chaos Pad 2S. And a little mixer and a MIDI through box, but they're not visible. No Volca kick, no. I like the Volca sample. I like the isolator of it. And I like the sound. I like how you can make the kick sound. Pretty mean, right? welcome. Polka polka. Somebody must have tried that. Well, there's a lot new Blackpool. This entire case right here. It's a new case of old stuff. Four Volcas, a Nordrack 2, a keystep, a MIDI looper, a Pictronics Infinity audio looper, and I need to get one of those Monono screen overlay things. Just press one button and there's a automatic gear splaning. Yeah, this Hammond sound of the Nord, I love it, and the Leslie, the rotor filter, I love it as well. It's an AKG 271, I don't know, with a letter. It's pretty busted. Actually quite a nice story. At one point when I was going to a gig, I packed in my stuff and my headphone. And I drove towards this gig, but while driving on the highway with 130 kilometers an hour, that's about 60-70 miles, I noticed a weird ticking, and I was, what's that? So after about 20-30 kilometers, I figured out my headphone was not in the car, but hanging by its wire and bouncing the tarmac at 130 kilometers an hour. And that is exactly this headphone I am wearing now. It was wet because it rained outside. It was raining really hard. So the thing was wet and it was bouncing on the highway with 130 kilometers an hour for about 50 kilometers. And I just let it dry. I replaced the ear pads, just the cushions, you know, not the technology or anything. And it still works. So big ups for German headphones. It still sounds great. It still works. I had no problem. I think some cosmetic damage, of course, but it's still perfect. Okay, Monono, I'm gonna show you the tricks because it's actually quite fun, especially the way I've connected it. Let's see, what are we hearing? Okay. Okay, we're listening to the Korg sample, a kick. Of the Future Artist MIDI looper. It is exactly what it is. It's a very simple MIDI looper. 2 buttons, 2 dials. Not more. There's some new diving, but it's communicated on the screen, but you don't really need it for anything else. It's MIDI synced, and the easiest way to use it, and I will just show it. I'm gonna go to the Nord rack. No, it's playing an arpeggiator. Let's get a sound that's easy recognizable. Delete everything. Okay. I'm gonna get it. Okay, the drums you're hearing is the TR-8S. I'm just gonna use it as a metronome. So it's actually quite easy. I just press the record button. Of course that sucks, but let's do something easier. Of course it's polyrhythmic or polyphonic. First get some sound out of the Nord rack. You can actually record any length of loop in MIDI. It also records CC messages, it records modulation wheel. Okay, let's do it. Okay, well, really simple stuff, but let's you can live quantize, so this button, let me get the best view over that. There we go. You can live quantize. And the further you turn it to the right, the more it quantized, but I can also, it's not destructive. I can go back to the original recording. I can quantize a bit, I can quantize a lot. And because of the way I have connected it right now, and the Nord Rack 2 is actually 4 synthesizers in one. So let me try to get some sound from another channel of the Nord. Now let's do this one on top of it. now on 2 different MIDI channels I have recorded a short MIDI loop. And of course the big fun of MIDI looping compared to audio looping is that you can still change all parameters because it's just the triggers that are recorded, but you can also record the modulation and the CZs. It's just that the only ones that are connected to the input of the Future Artist MIDI looper at this point is of course the modulation wheel of the key step. So let's see. So let's record that. You can hear the filter sweeps. Wheel. Just recorded that. And another cool thing because of the fact that I already having the KeyStep Pro Blackpool. It's right there, or maybe you were talking to someone else. Not sure. It's the static again on my phone. Because I'm using the KeyStep as a MIDI keyboard before the Nordtrack and MIDI looper, I can also first sequence something in the KeyStep and then record it on the MIDI looper and stack all kinds of stuff. I can also do an arpeggiator. Well, that's not a good sound for an arpeggiator. Let's do something high note. Okay, so the KeyStep at this point is creating this arpeggiator. I'm gonna hold it on the KeyStep. And I'm gonna record it as well. Because they're basically triggers. I think the MIDI looper also has an undo button. Don't really I think that's this one. Yes, that worked. So I just recorded that as well. Let's find a nice arpeggiator on channel 4. Let's do something thirds or sixths. Anyhow, I haven't played a lot with it, but potentially I'm just still figuring out this combination. But imagine creating a sequence or an arpeggiator on the key step with 4 channels on the Nord rack and looping it on a MIDI looper, and then you can still change it. And in this setup I can also record the outgoing audio. After this I can record the outgoing audio into the audio looper and do all kinds of crazy stuff with that as well. So I think I would totally be able to perform with just this case. And that's also the arpeggiator you were hearing was not the one of the Nord rack. It was the arpeggiator of the key step triggering the Nord rack. The Nord rack also has an arpeggiator, but I don't like it. I don't like the way you control it. It's kind of okay, but it sounds like 1994. But the sound, of course, came from the Nord rack. Seems a bit off time. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe because it's shift functions. Okay. Try to get a bass line in the looper as well. Let's find out if we can create a nice bass sound. This could work. Welcome, Milton Gallard. What a beautiful name. Welcome to the session. And welcome to you as well, Make Mistakes. Nice to see you here. Thank you. The case I'm turning knobs on right now is actually a case I just added today. My normal setup, is for the last month has been these ones right here. Let's take the camera back up. Whoop. This gives a pretty nice view. Let's do some piano improv on this. Hey there, welcome back from the lurk, Leap Temple. How was your meeting? Quick meetings are good meetings. Exactly. Oh, exactly. That's exactly what I meant. Exactly. So true. Exactly. Indeed. You're forgetting about the indeeds, Manano. I hear you. The worst meetings are the ones where there's an incompetent person in a management position, but that's like all of the time. Sorry about that. I hope I didn't destroy your ears for today. It was a lot louder than anticipated. But it should have woken you up. The only thing I did not connect yet is the Volca FM. When unboxing it right here, I put this all together at home. This is now in my studio. My studio is away from home. The good part is I have no sound limits right here, so I can also throw parties. But it's like a 25-minute drive from my home in Haarlem. It's like Haarlem with the double A. That's where the New York neighborhood Haarlem got its name from the city I'm living in, the city of Haarlem. And it's the 25-minute drive by car to my studio where I'm now. But I've just, when I unpacked it here, I realized I forgot to connect to Volca FM, so I have to do that next time. I do, however, have the Volca keys to play with. Let's see what we can do with that. Volca keys is also a device I have a completely love-hate relationship with. Sometimes I'm playing with it and I cannot get a normal, good sounding sound out of it for at least 10 minutes. But when I'm noodling out a bit more, and sometimes it sounds beautiful. I'm not familiar with the haunted label Angry Driver. Also, I'm not very familiar with labels in general. I was never a DJ, so but I know some obvious. The label is called New York Haunted, and it's from Tilburg. Okay. No, I don't. I know Tilburg. I've been there. And actually I have a friend who lives in Tilburg, but I don't know the label. I probably know some of the artists that produce on it. Maybe if you name some of the artists, I might be familiar with them. Lego Weld, Danny Wolfers. So it's a bit avant-garde electronic music label, I guess. Hey there, Dan. Welcome. A lot of new stuff. Entire new case as an addition to everything. Let me give you a quick view. Let's take this cam. Whoop. Lower it down again. Whoop. Okay, we got of course the Nord Rack 2 for synthesizers in one, virtual analog. You are hearing it right now. Also Korg Volca FM, Korg Volca sample, Korg Volca keys and a Korg Volca mix. And well, most important, a sequencer, a looper, a sequencer, a MIDI looper and an audio looper, all connected in parallel, so you can, a sequencer like the KeyStep Pro of course is a looper in a way, a MIDI looper. So I can make loops and loop it, and one big downside of the KeyStep is that you cannot control more than one MIDI channel at the time. And that's also one thing that the combination of the KeyStep and the MIDI looper, the Future Artist MIDI looper, can accomplish. So I can loop something and change the channel, loop something else, change the channel, loop something else, and that way I can stack all kinds of performances or stabs or chords or long notes on the MIDI looper. And so right now you're listening to and the best part about MIDI looping compared to normal looping, of course, is that you can still change stuff like the resonance, filter cutoff while playing. And the Future Artist MIDI looper also has live quantization, so I can quantize this entire loop. Let's get everything else out of the mix. So everything you hear now is coming out of this case. Thank you, Make Mistakes. I also like to make mistakes. It's actually very liberating to let yourself make mistakes as much as possible. So I can completely up the quantization. The only device that's not affected by it is the Volca key, so I'm going to turn it down by hand. Exactly, make mistakes. Sometimes I just purposefully make mistakes. Like close my eyes and just turn some knobs and see what happens. So you hear now all the looped parts that come out of the Nord Rack 2. They are super over quantized. I'm gonna turn it back one step. It's not destructive. Another step. Another step. And I'm gonna turn it all the way back to the original. Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to share also, is that when I design a case like this, or like that, or like that. One thing is really important for me, and that it's that the case can also operate standalone. So, so it should have something that can generate rhythm, it should have something that can generate bass lines, and it should have something that can generate melodies, because that are the three things you need to make effective music, maybe. So in this case it's pretty obvious. The first case with just a TR-8S you can do about anything, and I want some expression as well in most cases. Let's find a nice camera view where I can show everything. So all of these cases can also operate as a performance case standalone. That's also true. This case, yeah, it can operate on its own, and I can also use it for just creating some soundscapes. I can also put pre-recorded loops in it. That's something I'm gonna show now. Let's see what happens. So I'm gonna mute. Okay. I just muted the Nord rack, and I just started a pre-recorded atmospheric texture drone nonsense loop that I put into the Pictronics Infinity Looper. That's also right here. So I can use this like as a background texture for creating anything else. I can put a ridiculous amount of reverb on it. I can also, I think it goes through the pretty weird stuff. Also, I know one guy who does it, and that's a friend of mine, Dave Mack. He has an electron-focused case. He actually uses the exact same cases. He was the one who showed me this case. But I think it was my idea to do it. I think almost 10 years ago I just used a basic suitcase, just a travel suitcase, because I really had a hard time finding the right case, and I just wanted everything connected because I cannot DJ at all and I want to perform. So I put it in a travel case, and it was wonky as hell, and it didn't really work out, but it worked. Some foam and some stuff to put it in a way. But yeah, that's my philosophy. Yeah, you need to be able to carry it around and perform with it. The way it's positioned right now, I can, if I really need to, I can break this off in less than an hour and connect it all also in less than an hour. And that's everything, Nord stage included. There's actually also no table or anything. These are just keyboard stands with the lids of these cases on top. So there's this big ass case for the Nord stage, of course, but the surface you see right here is actually just the lid of that case standing on two keyboard stands. There's also a keyboard stand here and a keyboard stand here, and they have the lid of those two cases flipped on top of it. This is the lid of that case. Yeah, it's really convenient, and it's more than that. It's also it takes quite a while to build all the stuff in the case, and also you can plan it building the case. And I use Illustrator and put well-scaled images. I put them in the case and rearrange them and find the best solution. Sometimes before I even buy a piece of gear, I need to have a place to put it in a case, of course. Otherwise, for me, it's useless. But the problem with that is that, well, there are some things you cannot plan, like behavior of cables. You need a shitload of angled cables, angled MIDI cables, angled audio cables. You need the right lengths, because when you do a case like this, you need, you don't want too much cable, and you don't want too short, you don't want too long. If it's too long, you're filling up your case and you're getting all kinds of static and stuff. Angled MIDI cables are, I found actually the perfect ones. Let's see if I get them on cam. I also got introduced by those by Dave Mack, I think. Where's my, yes, there it is. Let's go to cam 4. These ones. What it can do is it bends both ways, because the normal, you can like twist them around and turn them to the other side. These are fucking perfect. And they're not expensive. They work really well. They come in all kinds of sizes. When you build stuff in cases like this, you will need that kind of stuff. There are normal angled MIDI cables, but they are usually angled the wrong way around. So they're not angled down, they're angled up, so you get, it's yeah, I'm gonna find that link and try to get some quality content for you guys here. Probably only can get a link, a Toeman link. Well, it's gonna be a Shrimp exclusive. I'm gonna put it in the Discord later today. I don't feel like opening Chrome. Yeah, exactly. There is also something about building stuff into a case. It does something with your mind. It makes this bunch of gear and this bunch of gear and that bunch of gear. It makes it an instrument, because they're all on a fixed position to each other, and especially when you have also a fixed position from your performing position. That's exactly why they are positioned like they are right now. It's because I can reach everything with my arms from my standard position, and that contributes to your muscle memory from your starting position. So with my eyes closed, I can apply this analog filter to my TR8. And it is something I do all the time. Set the filter, basically create a break, and just throw it back open. No, I don't mean like Eurorack, or I'm not sure what you're talking. Because Eurorack and modular synthesizers are a performer's nightmare. As a designer, I know that the worst possible interface is one that's covered in colored spaghetti. So I even think it's, I said it before in this stream, I think that's a big mistake the people who designed Eurorack made, or maybe they didn't think about it because it was a sound tool at the time and it goes so far back, but performance-wise, Eurorack is a nightmare. I think Surgeon has. I think he does some stuff with some Electron gear, and he also has like a little portable Eurorack case that he carries around as well, right? But it's with setup like this. They evolve all the time. I have this for if somebody wants more cowbell. I know it's not a cowbell, but a go-go. It's almost the right pitch. Anyhow, guys, I'm getting a pretty sore throat of talking, so I'm gonna do a little bit more playing, and I'm probably gonna wrap it up after that. If you guys have any good suggestions for rating someone in like 10-15 minutes, just let me know. Yes, and Vane, that's something that would be perfect, like a way to channel all the patch cables to one direction, for instance up or from the back. If I had to redesign Eurorack, I would put all the patch connections maybe not on the back. I haven't thought about it enough, but there is probably like a Eurorack 2.0 that we can think of that has both the patching possibilities but also the expressive interface of normal gear and normal instruments. Still thinking about it. I think there's something there, you know. Thank you everybody for hanging around. Don't forget, 23rd, 25th of October, Synthfest, Halloween edition. If you're a streamer, synth streamer, player, geek yourself, go to the Golden Shrimp Discord and sign up. We're gonna raid Jeff for Real. I never raided Jeff for Real before, so let's have a look what he's doing. Thank you all, and see you at the other side.